Welcome back to the Thumbs Up Podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. I'm sorry for missing a week. Just kind of got a little bit of a stomach bug. Had a hard time editing and everything, but that's no excuse. I'm really sorry about that. But I hope you guys liked Andrew Cram's episode. I thought that was a great conversation with that guy. But we have a wonderful episode this week with a wonderful man named Jeff Hodnick. He is an audio engineer, a musician, a producer, and the guy is very talented. He showed me some of his music, some of the stuff he's been working on with other artists, and also too just telling us his story, how he came up and how he started working on music. He's a great guy. This is a great podcast to listen to if you're a musician or somebody that loves music. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody for keep supporting the podcast. It really means a lot to me that people listen to my podcast after me doing it for so many years and all that kind of stuff. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, let's get right into the episode. Peace. Welcome back to the Thumbs Up Podcast. I am Kyle Devine, your host, and today we are here with Jeff Hodnick. Jeff Hodnick is a young producer, a audio engineer, and works with a lot of different artists in the Northeast Ohio area. Thank you so much for coming, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome. All right, so my audience probably doesn't know too much about you, entirely what you do. So I want to hear your story and how you started working in music and engineering and producing.
Sounds good. So I've had music around me my whole life. My grandfather actually toured with Dolly Parton in the 80s. He was her piano player, and he's been teaching master classes since the, I think, mid-90s. He goes over to China a lot now. And so just growing up here in like really solid, like professionally trained stuff. It was just always around me. I got my first guitar when I was 5, I think. Okay. And just from there, it kind of built up. Yeah. So from there on, it kind of went through. I was in band in high school and stuff. I played trumpet. But I guess what really got me into producing, I really wanted to make my dad mad. See, I had always worked full time, and over every summer I could, and he didn't want me to spend my money, but I was like, no, that's my money. Yeah. So I went out and I got myself. It was a couple years older. It was a used gaming laptop couldn't beat the performance for the price, and then I did a little cherry on top. After I spent about $1,000 on that, I went out and I got myself the full version of FL Studio, which at the time was another $1,000.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
And yeah, I just remember him walking in one day going, "Jeff, really?" And yeah, but the rest was history. I used to have just friends. When I told them I had it, they would come over and we'd freestyle into the laptop microphone. They'd have me make the simplest drum pattern I could. I didn't know how to do much at the time for that whole summer. Yeah. And then when I actually came to college, I joined a fraternity, and my roommate there, when I moved in, he was actually the DJ. So I learned how to DJ from him, at least with what he knew. He's crazy now. Yeah. But I learned how to produce too, because he had FL Studio as well. And that's really where it kind of started. That's where I finished my first cohesive beat. And it just snowballed that on. I met my buddies Amari and Levant, and they took me up to Invasion Studios in Cleveland. And that's when I really saw engineering. Okay. And I fell in love with that. So right away, once I found out Pro Tools it existed. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I need that. So of course, went out and got the illegal version. Yeah. Loaded it up on everything, all that. Messed with that for a long time. I actually got pretty good with that. And then I decided, I can run a studio. Yeah. Yeah, no, I dropped the ball definitely the first like 5-6 sessions. I did terrible. I didn't even charge people. I was just like, yeah, I can't even charge you. Yeah. But yeah, from there, I ended up moving to another house in Akron, and I ended up being lucky enough where my buddy actually fully bought out the house. Mm-hmm. When he did that, he said, the upstairs is yours. I just need you to finish it. I'll pay for all the materials, and for your labor, I'll just offset that, and you don't have to pay rent for so many months.
Wow. Yeah. That's a great deal.
Oh yeah. No, so
that's solid.
Full advantage of that.
Yeah.
The room I'm in now actually used to be my bedroom and studio, and repainted, redid everything because the whole upstairs was just rafters.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't even like really a floor. It was half torn up.
Yeah.
So redid the entire room in here, did the next room over, which is now my bedroom. And then we ended up building the wall here and turning this into my studio.
That's sick, man. No, seriously, it's a dope setup. Especially looking at your Instagram and like the start and then the finished product and stuff like that. It's honestly awesome. It looked like a lot of hard work for you.
Yeah, it was. I got pictures from back when I was in my apartment. I had my bed pushed up against the wall, literally touching my bed, and on it was I had a piano that would always sit in the corner of the bed because I didn't have enough desk space.
Yeah.
And from there on, it was this big old corner desk from like the 70s. We found it on the side of the road, put it in there, cleaned it up and all that, and just had random TV with a crappy speaker next to it, then another one.
Yeah.
Like, there was a bunch of screens that didn't even have cords plugged into them, but I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Totally not functional. Didn't know what sound treatment was. Didn't know anything. Just threw everything I could at that.
That's awesome. Seriously, I love hearing about like people's like first setups because like everybody's got like a really crappy first setup, like because you don't know what you're buying or whatever it is.
Oh, 100%. And I was actually pretty lucky. One of the first things I got was a 2i2 from Focusrite, which is actually a pretty good interface.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the best first piece, one of the first pieces of gear I got, because I actually ended up using that all the way through till I got my claret that I use now.
Yeah.
But still stuck with the brand.
Hey man, dude, that's awesome. Seriously. And then obviously like you have like a huge setup now. I mean, like is the floor pretty big? Like, I mean, the upstairs.
Yeah, it's a good size. Because realistically, it's the whole size of the entire first floor where we have our kitchen. My roommate didn't want to have a normal dining room, so he put a pool table in there. And so we have a pool table room and then the living room. And then there's 2 more bedrooms and a bathroom down there. But yeah, the top floor is actually the entire size of the first floor.
Okay, so, that's sick.
Yeah, at the time there wasn't a wall separating any of the rooms or anything either.
Yeah.
So this entire space was huge, and he said, "Yeah, you redo it. That can be your room."
Yeah.
So bet.
Yeah, seriously, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then, I mean, going off like what you were talking about, like you started, getting into music at a young age and like being in band and all that kind of stuff. And then you started seeing like DJing and then like going off of that, like producing and all that. And then you said even you went to, what was the studio name again that you started seeing like engineering?
So I went up to Invasion and I met the owner of that, Adi, and me and him are still cool today. We still talk sometimes, but yeah, from then on, and he's an artist too. Okay. And that actually got me, I was like, well, so he's an engineer. He owns the studio. He produces, does all that, and he's an artist. I can do that too. So I actually just recently started recording my own music as well.
Okay, that's dope, man. Happy to hear from you.
Thank you.
But yeah, so like going off of that part, and like you said, like you said earlier, you talked about starting music at a young age. So like, what was some of like your biggest inspirations like growing up?
Definitely my grandfather.
Yeah.
Because no matter if there was like any family get together, any holiday, he would always show up with his keyboard and his saxophone.
Okay.
And no cares in the world.
Yeah.
Just set it up, just be all smiling, and he would just start playing. He would just go to town for hours. And it was just a vibe, really. Okay. And I just really enjoyed it. And then with my guitar, my other grandfather actually took me to get guitar lessons for the first time. And at first I hated it.
Yeah.
And then I actually found the video game Rocksmith in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, this is dope. This is like Guitar Hero, but for real guitars.
Yeah.
So then of course that's when I was working full time. I had money. So I went out and I got myself a Gretsch ProJet. Plugged that right in, got Rocksmith, and I would be up in my room for hours. I learned all of My Chemical Romance DLC, all the Green Day DLC, you name it. Yeah. I would just countless hours up there just playing. My sister hated it. So when I was actually, it was that same year, I was at a garage sale and this couple wanted to get rid of their theater speakers that they had because they got new ones.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll give you $50 right now, cash. And they're like, sure. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So gave them that. Walk into my parents' house carrying two 350-watt tower speakers. So each speaker tower had two 12-inch subs, a 5-inch like mid speaker, and a 3-inch tweeter.
Yeah.
Carried in both of those big boys, hooked them up to an amplifier, had that wired right into my computer. So I was up there playing guitar through those every day.
That's awesome.
They hated it.
I was about to say you were making some loud noise at your house.
Oh, yeah. No, my sister said the biggest relief of her life was when I moved out. She loves me. Yeah, I know she does. But...
Yes, but that moment with not having to hear guitar throughout the night definitely probably helped her sleep.
100%. And I couldn't even imagine now with my studio monitors and everything else. It'd be bad,
especially living there. Yeah, no, 100%, man. I was gonna say because you hear about all that kind of stuff, like, you know, kids starting off at their house, and I can only imagine, like, I don't make music, but I can only imagine like living in a house where like a lot of people are making music, or one person, and it probably can get to be a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I'm so thankful for my roommates who throughout like the years who have just put up with it. Like now they can't really hear. I have the space pretty treated.
Yeah.
But no, because especially even when you're by yourself and you're recording yourself, dude, you put those headphones on, you can't tell how loud you're yelling or singing.
Oh no.
And if with auto tune on that, you don't sound like you hear at all. And you're just yelling away into the microphone. Yeah, I ultimate respect for the people who put up with all that. Especially the parents out there who put up with their kids starting out and stuff when it's actually really bad.
And your kid thinks it's like the best thing that they've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So, like, you said your grandpa was your inspiration, but, like, growing up, did you have any, like, people you, like, listened to that, like, was, like, a moment where you're like, dang, like, I want to do that?
I listened to Green Day a lot, but I think what really got me into wanting to play guitar was hearing the Black Parade album from My Chemical Romance.
Okay.
Their guitar player is just insane.
My Chemical Romance is one of my faves. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah. So I think hearing that, and then with my dad growing up, I always like AC/DC. He always had like that or Leonard Skinner on or something in the truck. And yeah, I think a lot of bands like that were really my start of what I heard. But now I listen to mostly like 50s and 60s music.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really sick.
Like what Run Around Sue by G-Eazy, his remake of that is one of my favorite songs of all time, simply because of how well he remade a classic.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was gonna say I've never listened to that. I don't really listen to G-Eazy like that, but like no, that's really cool that like you can notice that, because like there's probably a lot of people that listen to that song and they're like, I don't even know what the original is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, that's cool though. So like the majority of the time, like when you're just like chilling by yourself, you're listening to like 50s and 60s music.
Yeah, and then when I'm working out, I go the complete opposite direction. I'll be like jamming out to Millennium or something while I'm lifting.
Millennium, yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually started working on trying to learn at least how he makes the sounds he does when he's producing.
Yeah, 100%, man. I was gonna say that kind of stuff. Like I can only imagine like being like a producer for like any like dubstep or like trap remixes or anything like that, because I know how many layers that they have to put into it.
Massive.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like 200 to 300. Yeah, it's crazy to hear about.
Yeah, I'm like I got an intro and I guess the start of like a verse before the build up and the drop and all that, and I'm already at 65 tracks on what I'm working on right now.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's a lot already.
Yeah. And it's hard to get the mix right on all that because there's just so many layers that you have to differentiate from.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say, yeah, hey, good luck to you. I hope you figure it out. I hope it sounds amazing. I'm excited to hear it. But I mean, going off of that, even that point, like with inspiration and stuff like that, you talked about like you going to college and stuff like that. What'd you go to college for originally?
So very, very different. I went to college originally for electrical engineering.
Okay.
So all throughout high school, I had actually interned, and I was actually a full-on engineering tech before I even graduated high school, which you shouldn't even be able to do without a degree, let alone before you're out of high school. And so I was doing that, working at an engineering lab. And then, so I first started at a company called TCP. Then I went over to a company called Kitchler. And well, I was in college actually, and I was their replacement technician. Well, their technician they did have was out and injured. So yeah, so I started off with that, and then was like, you know what, I want to do music. I really do. So I left. I was prepared to just work my ass off to make ends meet till music worked out. I got a job at Jared, and then insurance found me. That's where I met Tyler.
Yeah.
And yeah, from there I ended up going back to selling jewelry. So I was a jeweler at Jared for a little bit. And then from there, I ended up going to a company now called Ferio, where I'm an automation technician.
That's awesome, man. So like you just dropped out of college at that point?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I couldn't even bring myself to really put the time I should have. Looking back, I regret because of the amount of money that I spent on going. Like I'm still paying off my loans. I'm the one who made the mistake.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still regret how I handled the situation, but yeah, I'm glad I left.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
No, I personally think there are people out there that should go to college. I personally actually think everybody should at least try college for a little bit, because even if you don't know what you want to do, going to college like forces you to actually like think about like what you're passionate about. And I think that's worth the money, because like, would you rather just be like sad and bummed out all the time because you don't have any passions while you're working like, a crappy job? Or would you want to work a crappy job part-time, go to school, and like force yourself to actually think like, what do I actually want to do? And I think it's worth the money for that, at least.
Oh, I agree 100%. The amount of growth that I forced myself through between first going to school and then leaving while still having an apartment lease. So having to find a job to make ends meet, because I was lucky. My parents said they would help me out with my apartment and stuff as long as I was in school. Yeah. Well, once I left school, everything changed. Everything fell on me. Yeah. So you got to step up. You got to make ends meet. So having to do all that while still wanting to make music and everything else was definitely hard.
Yeah, I was going to say putting a lot of hard time and work just to make everything work out.
60 hours a week. And then from there to using any other free time you can on music.
Yeah.
I probably only slept, like a good night of sleep for me during that time was like 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I was just a walking robot zombie. That's what
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That's working 60 hours a week. Yeah. That's some tough stuff. You seem like a really hardworking dude, and I appreciate that. And seriously, that's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I try. I can't sit still. Like I gotta always be doing something productive. It kills me. It eats me away, because like if I'm ever in bed past like 8:30, then I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Life's gonna end. I'm gonna lose everything. It freaks me out, and I just launch myself up, and I actually end up being almost too productive. I burn myself out. So I keep myself getting up at 7:30 every day, just trying to get as much as I can done. By 11 o'clock, shut everything down. I try to keep myself on a schedule.
Hey, man, mad respect to that. Seriously, I need to start doing that. That's my 2021 little thing for me. So, yeah, I need to be a little more like you next year.
Dude, you'll be amazed what you can get done if you just start to keep yourself on even like the slightest bits of a structured schedule. It's insane.
I'll have to look more into that for sure. Thank you. I appreciate the advice.
100%.
So I just wanted to backtrack a little bit. Was there like a certain moment you were like, yeah, I want to fucking do this? Like when it came to like the music thing, like you were in college, you said electrical engineering, right? And you were just like, music's my passion. Like I'm not doing this school shit anymore. This is where I'm going.
Not really.
No.
And it was kind of like, and that's not even the normal answer. I feel like there should have been, but it was just kind of the natural progression of time, really.
Yeah.
Just because I knew I was always going to want to do it for the rest of my life. I knew that from the moment like I got my first guitar, like way back when I was like 7 years old. So for me, it was just the natural progression. After I was done with work, come home, make beats till I pass out. A lot of times I would pass out on my chair. It was what it was. It was my life. And I was content. And I would kept going, got a better job, was able to get better equipment, everything else. But I guess I was just looking to improve, but it was just the natural progression of things. And then when I met Ty and everything else, it all just evolved and kept going.
Yeah.
And I always knew I wanted to start my own business at some point. A couple of friends of mine when I was growing up, their dads were entrepreneurs. They had businesses, rental properties, you name it. And so seeing that and being exposed to it, I think I was really lucky. So by the time I was, I think 18, I decided I wanted to have my own LLC by the time I hit 20. So went after it, did that. And that, just after, and now that I'm 21, I'm actually understanding somewhat of taxes. So trying to take advantage of write-offs, everything else I can, and all that. But
no, that's sick.
Yeah.
No, that's honestly sick. I was gonna say, yeah, because the majority of the time, like when you ask somebody that question, like, why'd you drop out of school and start music, or like what was that moment, they usually have like a defining moment, like they were sitting in class and like a professor said something, or they heard someone talking about something, or whatever what might be. But I think that's even cooler that you're just like, I've always known I wanted to do this. It was just more the fact of like, when did I want to pull the trigger?
Yeah. And when I, like, natural progression wise, like when I moved in with my first roommate, I didn't even know he produced it first.
Yeah.
I just looked over and saw FL, and I was like, oh, he's the same program. I didn't say anything though. I didn't want to push into it. He has headphones on, whatever. And we were still getting to know each other, new roommates and all that. And then he walks in, I'm on my laptop. He sees me with FL. He's like, bro. And it just started from there. And it really was just a natural progression over time, because that's when I started getting into more producing. And then I met a couple other people who produced, and then it evolved, went to my first studio. It's just how it was how it was. Yeah. It wasn't like any deciding moment to make me go, this is all I ever want to do. Because even when I left school, it wasn't 100% to just do music. It was, school just wasn't for me. There was something else out there.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great mind state to have too, especially, like realizing like, or being like conscious enough like of yourself to be like, okay, this isn't working out, but I know I want to do something.
Yeah.
And like, I just can't do this anymore, and I'm just gonna have to bust my ass. And I seriously, man, that's sick. I love hearing stories like that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like going off of that, you talked about like you listen to the majority of the time with like 50s and 60s music. And all that kind of stuff. But I've personally noticed like, like doing some research on you, like going on your Instagram and stuff like that. Like you work with artists like Cole 97, John Knox, and like some of the other guys that you've worked with that I've seen on your Instagram. And I would say the majority of the time you work with hip hop artists or rappers. So how did you make that distinction of like, I'm going to start producing hip hop records, not like making like rock songs or anything, or like starting a band?
Actually, we got a couple of rock songs coming up, but Cole's song, Locked Up.
Yeah.
That was me. I grabbed my guitar. I turned the gain on my guitar amp up like crazy and just started playing it in, patched it into my interface. So like it's a hardcore rock beat, and super simple, but it was just kind of the progression of things, because hip hop's really been dominant for the past like 10 years, ever since Kanye put out 808s and Heartbreak. For me, that's when hip hop really took that next level, because it affected so many albums after it, that like with that unique sound, and everybody fell in love with it, because a lot of people hated on that album at first.
Oh yeah.
But once a shit ton of other artists like started doing it, everybody on that bandwagon, even pop music took a bunch of stuff from that. Yeah. So it's,
I was going to say, I got into a massive fight with a female over Tinder because she told me that rap music is gross. And I asked her, I was like, oh, who do you listen to then? And she named off all of these like indie artists or alternative artists that I knew that were inspired by hip hop artists. And they had like 808s or like snares or like different things from like trap music influenced into their music. And I'm like, honey, you do like rap music, you just don't know it. Like that's the craziest thing to me, is because like I've talked to like a couple people about this. I don't know if you know who David Vega is, but I interviewed him.
I do not actually.
Okay. He's from like around my area, but me and him were actually talking about this, and I told him, I think the two biggest people that don't get enough credit for changing rap music and making it as like experimental as it is Kid Cudi and Kanye West. And I will fully say that 808 and Heartbreaks, if that was not an album, we would not have emo rap or like alternative rap.
Oh yeah, I make emo rap music personally. Like, yeah, no, I'm eternally grateful for that. And then, yeah, R.I.P. Juice.
Yeah, R.I.P. Juice, man, for real. But yeah, I mean, that literally like my biggest take is like when people are like, oh, this is who started it. I was like, no, sir. I was like, my man Kid Cudi and Kanye West started that wave, like way before those cats did.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I love people who are ignorant. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I don't really say anything. Like I won't call them out in their face. It's just a lot of times it's not the time, it's not the place, that kind of deal. But I love sitting back and knowing not as much like opinion-based facts as much as just like actual raw facts about like what people have said and who they're inspired by, and like your situation.
Mm-hmm.
I love hearing that and just sitting back with just a little grin on my face.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just the most fun thing in the world.
Yeah, I love when people try to come at me and tell me like rap music hasn't done anything, and I'm like, all right, like I can run down the list right now if you want me to, but I'm not going to do it to you. Yeah,
rap music took out pop music, took out rock music, took it all, and now it's absorbing it all and making a bunch of them like its own subgenres. It's awesome.
Agree. That's why I love rap music, and I think that's literally why hip hop and rap is some of the best genre out there.
Oh, I agree.
But going off of that, like us talking about artists, like we talked before, Cole 97, John Knox, and others that you've worked with. How did you start making those like artist relations?
So I met Cole through Tyler, who and kind of hit off right off the bat as like just people more than anything. Mm-hmm. And he came through before the studio was actually even built.
Yeah.
And yeah, funny story about that. This was still my bedroom.
Yeah.
And we were actually planning on getting work done on that the night he ended up coming over. So him, me, my buddy JB, who he works with Mixed Vision too, and then Tyler, we all ended up mudding up that entire room that is now my bedroom. We were doing all the drywall mudding, the whole 9 yards together.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we set the mic up, turned on the computer and everything else, and we started recording him for the first time. And dude, let me say this, his first time recording wasn't anything crazy at all.
Yeah.
He came back and I pretty much told him my honest opinions about everything, told him what he should work on. And he came back 3 months later, having worked on all of it on his own.
Yeah.
Ever since then, the rest is history. Because if you're willing to put time into something when I don't have to be there over your shoulder,
yeah,
I'll invest in you. And the rest is history. He's been coming back. He's probably one of the most consistent artists to come record, work on music in general. Because even if he's not starting a new song every time he comes here, we're dialing in other songs, working on mixes, making changes here, tweaks here. We have probably over 200 just sitting, like either some are start to finish, some aren't even like fully tracked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really I love hearing about that as well. Hearing artists put in like that true work, just in the studio and trying to make themselves better every time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's awesome. And then what are some of the other artists other than the guys that I've talked about that you work with a lot?
So I work with John Knox a good amount too. He's from up in Cleveland. I actually met him through JB. And then I also work a lot with a guy named OGBK. He's actually still in high school. He's only, I think 17 now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I met his brother actually at a college party back when I was still a student.
Yeah.
And he was telling me all about his brother and stuff. I was like, no way, I produce and I DJ. And so funny story. Me and my buddy Alan, he DJs as well. We ended up DJing a party at his house the next night. And from then on, it was just game over. Yeah. I met his brother. Him and his brother came through to my apartment at the time. We started recording stuff. And then when I came here, got the studio fully built, I invited him over. And right off the bat, and ever since, been really consistent clients. We actually had a song called Paradise reach over 300K on SoundCloud.
That's awesome.
Then, there's quite a few others that are over 20 now. But that one just kind of randomly popped off. But
yeah, dude, that's sick. I love to hear it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So like, is like your big thing, like when you're making like these artist relations, like anybody coming to your studio, are you really just trying to like make sure like you can actually work with this artist, or are you just, you know, like working with them anyways?
It's kind of 50-50 because at the end of the day, I'm going to work with somebody no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Personal feelings aside, like when it comes to engineering them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like people that I really do enjoy working with and like I would go out of my way for, if we have that personal connection, or if in general you're just a generally like really nice person in general, like
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you out. We'll give this. I'll give you a bunch of critiques. We'll work on it. I toss extra time to people all the time.
Yeah.
Because let's get this song dialed into the right space, because this is going to have my name on it. So I want to make sure it's good, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, I would prefer to be friends with all my clients versus just have it being strictly business, be like stone-faced, because the studio and music, it's all about feelings and vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to be a stone-faced guy just sitting over here doing stuff, being real short, quick to the point with everything I say, trying to be real quick on the software and stuff, like that's not helping the vibe.
No, not at all.
That's not doing anything. So you got to be able to talk and relax and get along with people and all that. You got to be able to at least be friendly more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I was going to say, because it seems like, you know, just from like pictures I've seen on, you know, like on Instagram and different things like that, like that you and especially Tyler, like you guys make like true connections with like a lot of these artists that you guys are working with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk with them almost regularly too. Like me and Tyler talk every day. I talk with Cole almost every day as well. With John, it's at least once or twice a week. OGBK once or twice a week. Like,
yeah,
consistent as far as all that. And of course there's other random ones, but
yeah, of course.
Just those are the guys that we're really closely working with right now, trying to get stuff going with.
Yeah, 100%. And like, do you see yourself at like some point kind of like trying your best to like help develop like artists that are like up and coming?
Oh, 100%. It's funny, I kind of see us as like another type of internet money vibe.
Okay.
Starting out, in the sense that we're not, because we don't actually full on like sign artists and all that.
Yeah.
But we do distribution deals where like we're not going to charge you to distribute your stuff. We're going to take like 5 or 10% royalties instead, because in streaming that ain't shit. Like on Spotify, it's like what, like 400 or 500 something plays for $1.
Yeah.
Most artists starting out maybe are getting 100.
Not even.
Yeah. So it's, more than anything, our whole platform and everything else. And when we do distribute for you, we offer a bunch of discounts and stuff. It's mainly to, I guess, really help start artists. So yeah, developing artists is huge for like me in general, especially.
Yeah.
I work with Cole a ton on that kind of stuff. And I even had Tyler over here yesterday. We were recording and we were just helping and giving each other critiques and stuff. But just working with people in general. I have people literally tell me in the middle of the session I'm great at working with them. So
hey, that's a great thing to hear.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Heck yeah. Hey man, that's great to hear. Yeah, I was gonna say that's like honestly like one of my favorite things to watch. Like I watch a lot of like documentaries and hearing like I like come up stories. Like I don't really, I mean, nothing against people that are like obviously like on Billboard, like that's a huge thing. But like I personally love like underground music or people that are like underappreciated. So I love watching like those come ups. So like hearing that like there's people in my area like trying to help people like that, or like hearing those type of stories is really awesome to me. So I'm really happy to hear about all that kind of stuff. And also, too, we will be at some point having Tyler on the podcast as well with Jeff, talking about different things of that nature and about their business. So check that out as well. But now, something that I'm very passionate about is our area, Northeast Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from Northeast Ohio area, do you believe that there is a lot of talent, like with not just like music, but like creatives in general?
Oh, 100%. I think that the biggest issue is so many people are, I guess, mentally idolizing California as this hub, which I mean, it realistically it is, but yeah, we don't have any major record labels. We don't have anything or any type of major network like that. Now in Canton, there is 1400 and all that, like with Trippy and his gang and stuff, but just in general in A1. But just in general, like I don't see Ohio as having that major support network yet. So I would like to get to a point, because I told Tyler, I think it was about a month ago, I just called him and said, hey, buddy, I was thinking we're going to have a skyscraper in downtown Cleveland one day. Just FYI. Yeah. And then I just hung up. Yeah. It's just one of those things, because I would love to be as powerful as those big labels and stuff, but stay in Ohio, because I don't think the network is there yet. Do I think it's growing? Massively. The amount of creatives coming out of Ohio right now in comparison to what, even 5 years ago?
Oh yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because like even if you think about like Trippy, like coming out of his area and stuff like that from Ohio, like I think that's crazy. I was gonna say you got like small time like producers that have been like working with like some bigger people. I don't know if you ever heard of Internet Boy.
Internet Boy? I have not.
Yeah, he's from Cincinnati. Okay. He's worked on a lot of records. There's this guy, he's like an underground, like he's slowly becoming like an underground legend, but his name's Cal Scrooby, and he's from Cincinnati as well.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. Cal's like one of my favorite artists from Ohio, so I love that dude. But yeah, I agree completely. Like that's why, like the biggest reason why I started this podcast is to give not even just like Northeast Ohio area, because like I'd like to expand, but like just people that are in areas that don't get a lot of attention. You know, just a spotlight, even if, you know, it's like 2 people watching, it's still something in my opinion.
100%.
Exposure is exposure.
Oh, 100%, dude. Just even like I felt so cool today, because I was like, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I gotta go. I'm about to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
I took full advantage of that shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was funny. But yeah, no, I agree 100% too. Like just being able to even build a platform where one other person can see is huge.
Yeah.
I think people undervalue the power of one person, because it takes one person to tell 10 people. And those 10 people, say 5 of those tell other people about them. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say,
that's all it takes.
Yeah, do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting closer to the end of this podcast, but I'm starting this segment where I ask each guest member at the end, who is your favorite artist and why?
I think right now it would be the Kid Leroy.
Okay.
He's my favorite right now. I don't really have an all-time list, because there's so many people, and there's as times change.
Yeah.
Music changes. So I don't really have an all-time list, but as of right now, it's probably the Kid Leroy. And mainly too, because the style and the type of music, and I guess more the sound that I make, actually comes out to be very similar to his, where I like my first couple of songs were like that before he even blew up, before I had ever even heard of him. So hearing a kid blow up, having like a similar style, I was like, hell yeah. So I was freaking out. I play his songs every day, dude.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I love his past 2 projects that he put out. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it as well.
And I think just because when like Peep was around, I was a huge Peep fan, R.I.P. Lil Peep. And same with Juice, R.I.P. Juice. But yeah, like I'll be with my buddy Jonathan. We'll be driving around and we'll just be going through, because there's so many unreleased Juice WRLD songs on SoundCloud.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, he has a whole like couple thousand song playlists with just little snippets of unreleased stuff.
Yeah.
Everything's on it. And so we'll just go through that and we'll just listen to it, drive around, talk sometimes.
That's dope. Hey man, driving around listening to music really brings something out of people. And I think it's one of the best things you could do.
Oh, the best thing that I found is just to like be able to lay there, play music over a speaker and just be able to close your eyes and get lost in it and actually like try to feel it. When you can get to a relaxed enough state and I guess a calm enough state where you can get lost in the actual music and like bring yourself to that point.
Yeah.
It just takes on a life of its own, dude.
Oh yeah.
I think first time I did that was when I haven't listened to music the same since.
I agree completely, man. No, 100%. That's a great point, especially with music. I think I don't know. I'm not like a huge like spiritual person, but I think sometimes listening to music is a spiritual experience.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
But going off that, do you have anything you'd like to shout out or tell us about?
So I have a EP coming. It's on the way right now. We got 5 songs completely tracked out and a 6th song that I'm having Tyler, who's going to be the videographer for my music video on it.
Okay.
I wanted to have him on the album too, because I think it'd be the funniest thing in the world. And he actually killed it when he was here. So he's actually coming back later today. We're going to finish up his verse on the song. But yeah, so he's going to be on there. But yeah, it's going to be a 6-song EP where we already have the music video ideas and everything prepped. We're just working on getting all the pieces for that put together. Cole, he has a project coming out on the 8th, or a music video coming out on the 8th. I accidentally said project because we have 4 more done that are just sitting ready to go.
Yeah.
Like the work ethic was
some crazy stuff.
Stupid. Yeah. And we took a big inspiration off Russ for that.
Really?
Yeah, because he said in an interview, and he did this for a year. So he took 6 months, prep songs. Every single week from after that 6 months, he would put out a new song a week. 52 songs in a year.
Yeah.
Like that output is unheard of. And especially when you have your own equipment, it's more than doable.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, because I made most of that EP of mine together in about a week.
That's awesome to hear, though. I mean, sometimes that's all you need, though.
Yeah, 100%. That's all a lot of major artists spend on their projects.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's expensive to get into and do that kind of stuff, but you can do it with the most basic stuff. And I didn't really learn how to do it with the basic stuff until I already had some expensive stuff.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have taken more time to educate myself more. YouTube University is a godsend.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, YouTube saved me on many occasions.
Yeah, for sure.
But any other people you want to like shout out or anything like that?
Big shout out John Knox, OGBK. We got a lot of stuff coming. We got so many done songs between me and John alone. Yeah, John has a bunch done too, just like Cole, that we're just waiting for. We're about to finish up getting the music video done for a song of his called Netflix. Okay. So that'll be coming out. It was crazy, dude. We actually were out in Bristol. We went to a golf course. We had 6 golf carts going. There was no one else out there. We're driving around the place. We got drones in the air. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. And like to a lot of bigger artists, that's nothing. But for us to be able to go, everybody has a golf cart. They're cruising. They're doing the music video stuff. We got the speaker blaring in the middle of a golf course. Like that's some surreal stuff you don't get to do every day.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Nah, so, but that music video is coming soon too. Yeah, just a lot of projects. We have a lot of, Cole's pretty much already has all of 2021, all the releases recorded and done. Same with John, really. It's just a matter of getting the artwork and everything else put together and getting it out. But
I was gonna say that's awesome, man. I'm excited to hear everything.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to see where we are by the end of 2021. my mind's already there because I already know we're going to keep going through this stuff, keep building and all that. But I'm excited to hear the stuff we're making at the end of 2021 because that's the stuff that's going to be coming out at the end of 2022.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah, it is. And it sucks though, as an engineer and as a producer and even as an artist, because you're like, I'm so much better than what I'm about to put out. But at the same time, I have to put something out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think people are going to see the growth, especially with all the artists you work with and yourself and the people you work with in general. So, and I also think you got a lot of talent and a lot of drive. So I'm excited to see your future in the music business and doing what you're doing, man. I'm really excited to watch it happen.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously, man.
I do.
But thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you coming on here and having a conversation with me.
Yeah, 100%, man. Anytime.
Right. Yeah, appreciate it, man. All right. Thanks for everybody that's listening to the Thumbs Up Podcast, and we're out. Peace. And that is the end of the episode. I just want to say thank you again for everybody listening. Also, big shout out to Jeff. He was a great interview. Just great getting to talk to him and get to know him. I really like his story, and it's really cool to see somebody from Northeast Ohio doing all this stuff. I feel like a lot of people in the Northeast Ohio area that do creative work don't really get a lot of recognition and, need to be shown. So I'm really happy I got to do this interview with him. Great guy. But yeah, seriously, you guys should go follow him on all socials. It will be in the bio of the podcast. But yeah, seriously. And also too, if you end up following him, make sure to check out all of his projects that he's been working on with different artists. Check out all the artists he's been working with. A lot of them are really talented. And, he has a big future ahead of him and also the artists that he's been working with. So thank you guys so much. If you guys can, please go follow the Thumbs Up Podcast Instagram. It's just at Thumbs Up Pod. And then also go follow me at Kyle.nice_ on Instagram. That's the best place to follow me. I post the most stuff on my stories. And then also too, just follow the podcast. And yeah. If you guys can also too, if you're listening to this on anything that you can review it on, please go review it and try to give us 5 stars. But even if you don't like it, just please review it. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate all the support. I hope everyone's safe and doing well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. And this is the Thumbs Up Podcast. Peace.